There are certainly a lot of pirates in One Piece, who could have guessed, but they're not all equal, so today I felt the need to detail each level of being a pirate in this very pirate-heavy world, using a completely original system that no one else has ever done on YouTube. Without further ado, here are the 7 levels of One Piece pirates. Level 1. The fodder pirates. These guys are the bottom of the food chain. They sail around the 4 blues, stir up a little trouble here and there, maybe raid a few merchant ships and villages, but they're not a real threat to any formidable opponent. Most of them will never make it to the Grand Line, and honestly I feel like many of them don't even have the ambition to do so. That's probably for the best, because they wouldn't last a week. The average bounty in the East Blue is stated to be 3 million berries, and all those pirates with such low bounties fall under this level. These are the guys that Johnny and Yosaku were hunting, and they were famous for only going after small fries. Surprisingly, examples of named pirates in this level are not very common, since Luffy and their crew mostly went up against some of the more formidable pirates during their time in the East Blue. But there are a few named pirates that fall under this level. Alvida and her early crew that Luffy dispatched with no effort, the Black Cat pirates when Kuro wasn't leading them, but the greatest example is Porchimi from Luffy's backstory, the guy that was part of the Blue Yam pirates. This bum tortured Luffy and then lost to 2 kids. Well, Ace and Sabo might not be the average kid, but still. And his bounty was only 3.4 million, so it's very fitting. These aren't the kinds of pirates that strike fear into people's hearts. They're more like background noise, jobbers there to elevate the stronger pirates, so we, the viewers or readers, can see the power gap between the weak seas and the Grand Line. Level 2. Small-time captains. These are the pirates who manage to scrape together a crew and maybe terrorize an island or two, but in the grand scheme of things, they're still not that impressive. Their strength is mostly for show. They can flex a lot in the weak seas, since they're mostly filled with level 1 pirates, but the moment they bump into someone from the Grand Line, they get humbled fast. Don Krieg is the perfect example here. This guy rolls up with his 50-ship fleet, acting like he's invincible, and then gets completely dismantled the second he enters the Grand Line. Arlong is another one. He had real power in the East Blue, but there's a reason he left the Grand Line. The second you put him against someone on Luffy's level, the illusion of dominance falls apart. And we also got Captain Kuro, the so-called genius, whose plan is so stupid it actually hurts. I actually made a whole video about him, check it out after this one. These small-time captains are dangerous if you're a villager, but to the Grand Line pirates they're nothing more than stepping stones. They might look big in their tiny pond, but the second they step outside, reality hits them hard. Level 3. Grand Line rookies. This is where things start to get interesting. These are pirates who actually make it past the weak seas and into the Grand Line, which is already an achievement on its own. They've proven that they're stronger than your average small-time captain, and they usually manage to survive long enough to build some kind of reputation in Paradise, the first half of the Grand Line. Now, a lot of rookies stall out and don't move past this level. Some of them scrape together a name, maybe a halfway decent bounty, but they don't have what it takes to push further. Examples include Mikazuki, that got beaten by the Galilei shipwrights, Poo-Poo, who got dried out by Crocodile when he tried to raid Alabasta, and Roshio, that got bodied by Bellamy. Speaking of which, Bellamy is a perfect example of this level. He was strong compared to East Blue Father and other rookies, but when it came time to actually clash with someone like Luffy, he got flattened real fast. But here's the key. Not every rookie flames out immediately. Some of the greatest pirates in the story were once sitting at this level. Luffy himself entered the Grand Line as a rookie, and look where that took him. The supernovas like Kid and Hawkins all started somewhere too. The difference is whether a rookie has the willpower, the crew, and the luck to push past Paradise into the new world. So this level is kind of a crossroads. For most pirates, this is their ceiling, but for a select few, it's the launch pad that takes them to the legend status. By the way, if you love One Piece and want more content like this, make sure to hit that subscribe button. I've got a ton of videos coming up, so you won't regret it. Thank you. Level 4. Rising Threats. Now we're getting into the real deal. These aren't just pirates scraping by in Paradise anymore. These are the names that start making waves across the world. At this level, pirates have both real power and ambition. They're strong enough to challenge marines head on, shake up entire regions, and leave a reputation that sticks. This is also the point where the world government starts to take notice. If you're strong enough, you might even get offered a seat as a warlord of the sea, since they'd rather have you working for them than running wild. I think Ace is a perfect example of this, especially during his time as captain of the Spade Pirates. He took down a warlord, went after a Yonko in Whitebeard, and overall just caused some real commotion. I would say the Straw Hats entered this level after Enies Lobby. That's when the world government realized they weren't just some Grand Line rookies, rather they could actually pose a real threat. Kid and Law before the time skip also fit perfectly into this category. They had strong crews, serious ambition, and they weren't afraid to throw hands with anyone in their way. Rising threats are the pirates who make you stop and pay attention. They might not be ruling the seas yet, but you can see the potential bubbling. Some will rise higher, some will fall short, but at this level, they've already left their mark in the world. Level 5, the big names. This is the stage where pirates stop being regional threats and become world-shaking forces. These are the pirates that the world government has to actively monitor, because every move they make can tip the balance of power. They've most likely carved out territory, built massive reputations, and command enough strength to clash with marines, warlords, or even Yonko crews. Most warlords fit perfectly here, Crocodile, Hancock, Moria, but if there's one pirate who defines this level, it's Don Quixote do Flamingo. He wasn't a Yonko, but his influence stretched across the seas. He had a kingdom under his thumb, underground connections that ran deeper than most people even realized, and the strength to back it all up. He played the game on every front, political, criminal, and physical. The Straw Hats entered this category after Dressrosa in my opinion. Up until then, they were just 9 members. But with the addition of the Straw Hat Grand Fleet, Luffy commands a force comparable to those of the Yonkos. You've also got pirates who hover right below Yonko status at this level. Blackbeard before he claimed the title of Yonko, Yonko commanders like Marco, Katakuri, and King. These aren't emperors themselves, but they have the strength and influence to stand beside them, and in some cases to even replace them. The big names are the pirates that shaped the era. Level 6, the Emperors. Now we've almost arrived at the top of the world, the Yonko, the Emperors of the Sea. These are the pirates who don't just make waves, they rule them. They command fleets that operate like nations, territories that bend entire islands to their will, and influence the balance of power across the seas. When a Yonko is on the move, the world government and the marines pay attention. This isn't a threat you can ignore. Pirates at this level is the definition of ultimate pirates. Shanks, Kaido, Big Mom, Blackbeard, the ones who stand toe to toe with the strongest forces in the world without breaking a sweat. Even Luffy, after his rise post-time skip, has now joined this level, proving that the old guard of this world isn't untouchable, and that ambition backed with strength can reach the top. And even Buggy is now somehow even at this level, thanks to his insane charisma and also a lot of luck. The key difference between these pirates and the big names is scale. A big name can dominate a region or challenge a Yonko on occasion, but a Yonko is the region. They're forces of nature, mostly untouchable, unstoppable, and the standard against which all other pirates are measured. At this level, they're not just feared for your strength, you're feared for the world you can create or destroy simply by existing. Alright, let me do an epic voice for this one. Level 7, Kings of the World. At the pinnacle of piracy, there exists a realm so exclusive that only a select few have ever dared to enter. These are the Kings of the World, figures whose ambitions and actions defined an entire era and significantly altered the course of history. Rox D. Sebek, the embodiment of unbridled ambition, sought to overthrow the very foundations of the world. Leading the formidable Rox pirates, he amassed a crew of unparalleled strength, including future legends like Kaido, Big Mom, and Edward Newgate. His vision was clear: to become the sovereign of the world. He even managed to end the life of a marine admiral and come face to face with Emu. However, his reign was short-lived. In a monumental clash known as the God Valley Incident, Sebeg met his end at the hands of an alliance between Goldie Roger and Monkey D. Gore that we are yet to know the full details of. Despite his downfall, the legacy of Rox endured, with the members of the Rox Pirates continuing to shape the world in their own ways. And of course, Goldie Roger, the Pirate King. He achieved what many deemed impossible. He conquered the Grand Line, discovered the legendary One Piece, and uncovered the true history of the Void Century. His journey ignited the Great Pirate Era, inspiring countless individuals to set sail in search of treasure and glory. story. Roger's legacy is not just in the treasure he left behind, but in the era of freedom and adventure he ushered into the world. These men are not mere pirates. They are legends whose stories transcend time. Their ambitions, actions, and legacies have left an otherwise unseen mark on the world, making them true kings of the world. Please subscribe if you enjoyed. Peace.